with you? Do all the things we do. Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk away? What would you do if you knew all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too?
I think it was quite clear how you were trivialising the issue, because you did write an article saying ignore the paranoid fantasists. And I do understand you were saying fantasists because you think that it's ridiculous to think that we're being followed around at the moment as if it was the Stasi.
I don't write the headlines.
Okay.
I know that.
Right, well you did actually call us paranoid fantasists this evening too. It's on the podcast, so this is anyway, sorry about that. The other thing is...
Question?
Yes, sorry. Relating to the paranoid fantasists thing, I know that you're writing a book about conspiracy theories, correct? One of them being that there was some government facilitation, intergovernmental facilitation of the 9/11 attacks. And I just wanted to ask the panel whether they support a new criminal investigation into the attacks of 9/11, given that Mohammed Atta was funded $100,000 by Pakistani intelligence and that other alleged hijackers were hosted by institutions run by the US military. And I'd just like to finish on the fact that it is a myth that Western governments are invested in trying to protect us from terrorism. In fact, during the last 100 years, there's been ample evidence of them being very invested in terrorism happening and them actually facilitating those attacks.
What about the question?
The question was, yeah.
Panel on
do you support a criminal investigation?
No, I wasn't going to ask that one actually. I was going to ask about the Trust Party campaign for Bill of Rights. Dennis.
Madrid prosecutor said.
Questions?
This guy asked the question.
Yeah, sorry.
No one's answered it.
The criminal investigation into 9/11, sorry.
A one-word answer from the panel. Would you like to do a criminal investigation into the 9/11 issue?
Why one word?
Well, what does that think? It's a yes or no answer, isn't it?
I slightly lost track of who we were going to prosecute on that.
Sorry?
Who are you
Actually, I don't want to get sidetracked
That's
into 9/11. They're asking you whether or not you would support a 9/11 inquiry. And I'm suggesting you might want to answer.
9/11 was moderated a website, you can tell.
Yeah. They don't want to answer that question.
Wow.
So,
Well,
Anthony Barnett, I think it is, in the brown shirt, followed by on the blue shirt. And then I'll come to the back, because I know. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
David. Hi there.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I got my question kind of skipped over by
I didn't really know the answer to it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, because I've heard that you support a new 7/7 inquiry, which I think
certainly,
is
absolutely.
a very good thing. But I mean, British people died in the 9/11 attacks, and actually a majority of victims' families in the US don't believe that the 9/11 Commission have answered their questions yet. And the point that I made in the question was that Mohammed Atta did receive $100,000 from the head of Pakistani ISI, and that was never looked into. And the 9/11 Commission actually said that funding for the terrorists is of little practical significance. There's hundreds of other questions. There's actually hundreds of academics and politicians, including top MPs in the Japanese Parliament, ex-UN weapons inspectors, a lot of academics.
When this is all over,
Yeah.
what's your name?
Jack Morgan.
Jack Morgan.
Yeah.
Write me a letter. In
Will
the
do.
first line, say we spoke.
Yeah.
That draws it to my attention.
Okay, and I want to give this to you. If you're serious
I've
about
got
the
it.
7/7 inquiry,
I've already got that.
have you read it, sir?
Skim.
It is
Yeah.
extremely good, and it will give you all the tools you need to start
But no, we keep pushing on it.
start pushing and ask the questions that are in here.
People keep saying to me,
They're very well
afraid
sourced.
about my 5. Answer no. So we're going to keep pushing. Don't worry.
Yeah, because I mean, for example, you've heard of the. Sorry, the name escaped my mind now. The guy who allegedly masterminded the 7/7 attacks, he was now being extradited to the US. He was actually an MI6 agent. So that kind of thing is the stuff that you need to push. Absolutely, yeah, a double agent.
I assume that you're well aware about those pictures.
Loftus is a terrorism expert and a former prosecutor for the Justice Department. John, good to see you again. So, real quickly here, have you heard anything about this Hassan Hussein who just picked up in Rome? Know that name at all?
Yeah, all of these guys seem to be going back to an organization called Al-Muhajirun, which means the emigrants. It was the recruiting arm of Al-Qaeda in London. They specialized in recruiting kids whose families had emigrated to Britain, but who had British passports. And they would use them for terrorist work. They were headed by, Captain Hook, the imam in London, the Finsbury Mosque, without the arm. He was the head of that organization. Now, his assistant was a guy named Aswat, Harun Rashid Aswat.
Aswat, who they picked up. Yeah.
Aswat is believed to be the mastermind of all the bombings in London.
On the 7/7 and 7/21, this is the guy, we think.
This is the guy, and what's really embarrassing is that the entire British police are out chasing him, and one wing of the British government, MI6, or the British Secret Service, has been hiding him. And this has been a real source of contention between CIA,
Hold on,
the
John.
Justice Department, and Britain.
MI6 has been hiding him. Are you saying that he has been working for them?
Oh, I'm not saying it. This is what the Muslim sheikh said in an interview in a British newspaper back in 2001.
So he's a double agent, or what?
He's a double agent.
He's working for the... So he's working for the Brits to try to give them information about Al-Qaeda, but in reality, he's still an Al-Qaeda operative.
Yeah. The CIA and the Israelis all accused MI6 of letting all these terrorists live in London, not because they were getting Al-Qaeda information, but for appeasement. It was one of those, you leave us alone, we leave you alone kind of things.
Well, we left him alone too long then.
Absolutely. Now, we knew about this guy Aswat. Back in 1999, he came to America. The Justice Department wanted to indict him in Seattle because him and his buddy were trying to set up a terrorist training school in Oregon.
So they indicted the buddy, right? But why didn't they indict him?
Well, it comes out, we've just learned that the headquarters of the U.S. Justice Department ordered the Seattle prosecutors not to touch Aswat.
Hello. Now, hold on. Why?
And that's, well, apparently Aswat was working for British intelligence. Now, Aswat's boss, the one-armed Captain Hook, he gets indicted 2 years later. So the guy above him and below him get indicted, but not Aswat. Now, there's a split of opinion within U.S. intelligence. Some people say that the British intelligence fibbed to us. They told us that Aswat was dead, and that's why the New York group dropped the case. That's not what most of the Justice Department thinks. They think that it was just, again, covering up for this very publicly affiliated guy with Al-Muhajirun. He was a British intelligence plant. So all of a sudden, he disappears. He's in South Africa. We think he's dead. We don't know he's down there. Last month, the South African Secret Service come across the guy.
Yeah, now the CIA says, oh, he's alive. Our CIA says, okay, let's arrest him. But the Brits say no again?
The Brits say no. Now, at this point, 2 weeks ago, the Brits know that the CIA wants to get a hold of Harun. So what happens? He takes off again. Goes right to London. He isn't arrested when he lands. He isn't arrested when he leaves.
Even though he's on a watch list.
He's on the watch list. The only reason he could get away with that was if he was working for British intelligence. He was a wanted man.
And then takes off the day before the bombings, as I understand it?
Yeah, and goes to Pakistan. The Pakistanis arrest him.
They jail him.
They jail him. He's released within 24 hours, back to southern Africa, goes through Zimbabwe, and is arrested in Zambia. Now the U.S. We're trying to get our hands on this guy.
John, hang around. I have so many questions now. Gotta take a quick
this is
break
a bad
here.
one.
18